Welcome to the Digital Glue Podcast. These digital untangling episodes are brought to you by Crystal Kordalchuk, CEO and founder of Virtually Untangled. This podcast is for entrepreneurs who need untangling from the day-to-day tasks in their business. These virtual world untanglers never underestimate the power of a good idea. And if that sounds like a lofty goal, well, it is. A decade ago, Virtually Untangled was founded with the goal of creating meaningful digital experiences that connect with people. Crystal and her team of honorary untanglers are now providing business owners just like you the opportunity to own your story and share it with the world. So, every Tuesday morning, she'll be dropping a new episode that will help you think big and dream even bigger. Let's dive into today's episode.
Hey there, Digital Glue Insiders. Before we dive in today's very important topic of mental health, I have a few announcements to share with you. First being a bit of excitement here on our end. 2 ever short years ago, this week, we made the decision of a lifetime. We made the Digital Glue Podcast our newest digital home, and we're officially celebrating 2 full years of untangling Digital Glue episodes with our 87th, which we're bringing to you here and now today, and our 100th in clear view. We've continued expanding our voice, our story, and our team combined knowledge to new and exciting ideas and platforms, and we plan to not stop there. The Digital Glue, in all its glorious forms, continues to blast off at lightning speed, and we plan to keep things rolling for a while longer. The amount of support you've shown us has blown us away. So thank you. Thank you for virtually being by our side on this journey. That being said, our second announcement is that we're going to be taking a slow roll and a bit of a pause with our podcast come our 100th episode, which just so happens to land on February 14th in just a few short months. We have too many grand ideas that have been whisked to the wayside that we want to bring to the forefront. They're burning a hole in our brains, and we want to bring our visions to life and share them with the world. Then once the dust settles from our new creations and offerings, we'll pop back into this digital glue world. Okay, now that we've shared our news, let's dive into today's extra important topic, a new era of mental health. Mental health is important. In reality, it has always been important, but with the state of the world today, it's even more important now than ever. The world has been in shambles for a couple years and counting now. There is an endless amount of heightened pain and suffering, and it sadly doesn't look as though that's going to change anytime soon. The never-ending pandemic, new strains of scary viruses popping up, bad governments, politics, and conspiracies, the war between Ukraine and Russia, truth and reconciliation with the Indigenous peoples, the floods across the USA and Afghanistan, droughts across multiple areas of the world, riots and rallies and endless bouts of racism, rising grocery and gas prices due to a recession. All this pain and suffering is not something empaths like myself are able to take lightly. Even though it's not all personally happening to us, we feel all the feels as though it is. We're highly attuned to everything around us at quite a deep emotional level. And that makes it very hard to function at a normal level. So we need to take action on an entirely different level in order to not let the world take us down. Things like not watching or reading the daily news, finding ways in which we can help improve the pain, donating or performing random acts of kindness, using our skills to help better the lives of others, busying ourselves with fond hobbies beyond work, and the list goes on. To put myself on the vulnerability chopping block, my own mental health has been suffering a bit this year, more than any other year of my near 40 years lived on this wonderful planet. Sure, 2020 was a strike to the gut, but we adjusted. Then 2021 was a rinse and repeat of 2022, but we were already getting used to it. But then 2022 rolled around and punched us right in the dang face. Our car got smashed in a really bad accident, but don't worry, everyone's okay. I got COVID badly, and so did my other half. Our precious kitty Maxwell, he needed to be put down. Both other kitties had injuries that needed immediate tending. Myself and my family caught some other pretty horrible illnesses. A close friend found out she had breast cancer. Our clients were struggling to not close due to pandemic inflation. A VU client and a very dear friend of mine passed due to COVID complications. And between those years and a few prior, my other half and I have had near 10 friends take their own lives due to mental health struggles. I'm not telling you all this so you'll feel sorry. I'm sharing this all with you today in order to greatly express how much your mental health matters. And if you're struggling also, that you are not alone. If you think of it, we're in a new wave of a pandemic when it comes to health concerns, and it's our mental health on the line. We were locked up for nearly 3 years, and when we were finally set free, the world we once knew was gone. And some didn't or still don't know how to cope, and rightfully so. But that's okay. It'll take time, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. To put things into perspective, did you know that a majority of adults, 61%, reported experiencing undesired weight changes since the start of the pandemic, with more than 2 in 5, 42%, saying they gained more weight than they intended? Of this group, adults reported gaining an average of 29 pounds, with a typical gain of 15 pounds, which is the median. That 2 in 3 people, that's 67%, said that they are sleeping more or less than they wanted to since the pandemic started. Similar proportions reported less, 35%, and more, 31%, sleep than they desired. That's nearly 1 in 4 adults. 23% reported drinking more alcohol to cope with their stress. That nearly half the population, that's 47%, said they delayed or canceled healthcare services since the pandemic started. That nearly half of parents, 48%, said that the level of stress in their life has increased compared with before the pandemic. More than 3 in 5 parents with children who are still home for remote learning, 62% said the same. That essential workers were more than twice as likely as those who are not to have received treatment from a mental health professional. That's 34% versus 12%. And to have been diagnosed with a mental health disorder since the pandemic started. That's 25% versus 9%. That Black Americans were most likely to report feelings of concern about the future. More than half said they feel uneasy about adjusting to in-person interaction once the pandemic began fizzling out. That's 50% versus 51% Asian, 50% Hispanic, and 40% white. That Gen Z adults, 46%, were the most likely generation to say that their mental health has worsened compared to before the pandemic, followed by the Xers at 33%, Millennials at 31%, Boomers at 28%, and older senior citizen-aged adults at 9%. These changes and stressors are not to be taken lightly. The world is in a tough place, and we need to work towards rebuilding things. But in order to do that, we must start from within. Some days it's hard to stay motivated and keep the entrepreneurial spirit alive and twinkling, especially if you're stuck feeling like you're in rinse and repeat mode with your business and feeling languish oh so damn hard due to the uncertainty that the pandemic has created. But it's all about perseverance and taking things in stride, knowing that no matter how hard things seem or feel right now, at this very moment, there will always be a light at the end of the tunnel. Even if it's not shining quite so brightly yet, it will. You just have to keep doing all the things and leave room for making gifts of imperfections, thanks to Brene Brown. But most importantly, be aware of how you're feeling and what's going on around you. Talk to your tribe and share experiences. Give yourself permission to experience some joy. Time block some you time every single day. Check in with yourself. And most importantly, take things one day at a time. Rome wasn't built in a day. And if you've done all these things alongside everything else I shared with you today, and that sticky, icky feeling still won't go away, I just want to remind you that just because we spend all day, every day, untangling all the things in the land of digital, held together with a little bit of glue, we're human too. And we're always only a virtual message away. And just like the needs of your business, this does not need to be done alone. Hope is real. Help is real. Your story is important. You are important. For those of you who may not know this about me, I'm an avid follower of To Write Love on Her Arms, TWOLA. I learned about them when I was working my full-time day job a handful of years back when a close friend and coworker rushed out of the office because her daughter tried to take her own life. That was my first experience with suicide. And ever since then, my entire outlook on mental health has changed drastically. So if you or someone you know or love is struggling beyond their means, but acting like all is well, but are on the edge, please don't think you're a burden or all alone or that you cannot go on any longer like this. There are people and places and resources out there that can make you and them get out of that sticky place or feeling. We can't do this thing called life without you, without them. There is already so much pain and suffering in the world, but there's also lots of good. And we want you and them to be here with us to explore and experience it all. They exist as one of those resources to encourage, inform, inspire, and also invest directly into treatment and recovery. To learn more, click on the link within the transcript of this episode. To end things off today, it's human nature to avoid pain and seek pleasure. Some of us take risks while others play it safe. Some of us see problems and answers, while the others see the status quo. Some of us feed off our comfort zones, while others see hiding behind this as a failure. This path isn't always easy, and the survival rate is bleak at best. But it's the mental tools that keep our journey intact, and one of those very important tools is resilience. Fear holds us back. Dark and cloudy days and setbacks are unavoidable and surely not pleasant. However, they also have the potential to be your engine of personal growth. Also, in our business lives, pain plus reflection equals progress. So see yourself as a fighter. Go with the gifts you were given. Trust your gut. It's always right. Take time to reboot. Be gracious about your losses, even the ones that shatter your world. Learn as you go. Don't give up. Keep reminding yourself why you're doing this worthy thing called life and your business, because who better to take it on than you? And most important of all, believe in yourself.
And that's a wrap. Virtually Untangled is a full-service business, which means they've got you covered on design and content right through to digital and organization. You'll form a long-lasting relationship with them as collaboration is central to everything they do. Now it's time to seize the moment and become inbox friends. It's easy to do. Just hop on over to virtuallyuntangled.com or their Facebook page to opt in and receive instant access to the most inspirational ride of your life. So what are you waiting for? Become inbox friends with VU. Until the next episode, keep untangling.